Okay, good morning, community. Welcome to the KubeVirt weekly community meeting. I'm your host, Chris Caligari, and co-host is Stu Gott. And let's begin. I've posted the meeting notes into chat, so for easy linking and access. Again, I have the first agenda item and wanted to just give everybody a notice regarding daylight savings time. Daylight savings time is March 14th, so next week's meeting will start 1 hour later. That's great for me because I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m.
Just to clarify, that's 1 hour later for countries that follow US time zone, but Europe switches at a different date. So it's the same for anybody in that area.
That's right. I thought US and Europe followed the same DST date adjustment.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years that they're slightly off, and so that's the source of the confusion.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Okay. Looks like we have Ryan Hallisey as the first agenda item. And Ryan, before you start, I'm going to put you on a 10-minute fence this time since we've talked about your new feature a lot. I asked that you put any take any detailed discussion to the email list. Do you agree with that?
Hey, can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, that's fine. I've been time boxing it every time in this meeting, but I think we've gone over every single time.
All right.
So yeah, that's fine. So we'll
10-minute timer is set. Please begin.
Yeah. So the only thing I wanted to, well, two things I wanted to bring up. One was the change that I talked about on the mailing list, which so when talking about the virtual machine pool, the idea of a virtual machine pool, to sort of consider everything to be a pet instead of everything to be cattle, and that change is reflected here as sort of a VM prefix. And that discussion, yeah, like I said, it was on the mailing list. This does change a few things, and the idea is that now we have naming, so we do the association between objects so that things can be overridden and attached as part of the pool, which kind of makes sense because, like, when we think about doing these object overrides, like cloud-init data, virtual machines, or sorry, PVCs would be another one. Like if you want to attach disks to individual, or you want each individual VM to have its own disk, this would be another example. It kind of makes sense to consider them as cattle. So as pets. So naming makes sense as actually doing that attachment. Okay, and then with that being said, it kind of brings up the second thing that I brought up on the mailing list, which is I named this threads. I don't really know if this is the right name for this, but the idea here is that now that we have sort of names for these, like whatever they are, I have like GS0, 1, 2, so we have this increasing postfix. How should it scale up? If we think about like the stateful set, if you want 3 things in a stateful set, we create the first item, the second item, the third item, and it's done sequentially. And they're done it sort of with an order in mind. So with that, we could do the same thing always with or not. So the idea here is that, or I guess the use cases would be like, let's say if I have this field threads and I set it to 1, it would imply that we create the first VM in our pool and we wait till it's running before we create the second one and the third one and so on. But it doesn't have to be this way. It could be that we do multiple threads and we have sort of multiple API calls and we don't do waiting. So those are kind of the use cases that I see. Do folks have any thoughts on that?
Sure.
I can see, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I was going to see if anyone else was going to speak up first.
Nope.
This always
Go
turns
ahead.
into you and me going back and forth, which I'm fine with. Yeah, so we have this idea in like the VMI replica set of kind of batch operations. So how many do we want to create at one time? I don't even know if that's configurable right now. I need to go back and look. The same sort of issue is hit with deployments on pods, I would imagine as well. And I don't know how that is handled. So if somebody sets that they want 10,000 pods, I don't think they create 10,000 pods all at once. I'm pretty sure when I looked at ultimately it's the replica set that's doing it, but I'm pretty sure it's batched. And I don't know if the user has control over how those are batched, but I'd say that would be important.
Yeah, there was in jobs, there's two fields is configurable. There's you can do parallel or you can do completion, and parallel is like non-blocking, and you just kind of like get to, like, say you want 5, you just get to 5, and then completion, it's like, okay, get to 5 and then we're done.
So with the stateful set, they're trying to create deterministic ordering, like how things are started. I don't know if we need that with the virtual machine pool. I'm kind of hesitant to start with that. We could add that on later on if we needed it, but I'd have to see a really strong use case for why that's necessary.
No. What's up?
Somebody who's not on mute. Can we mute whoever that is so they don't accidentally say something they don't want to say?
We have a call in from 713-478-5194. Can I have you mute?
Okay.
Okay.
Take care of it. I
Yeah,
feel really bad
him.
if we recorded somebody's personal conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he just left the meeting, I think.
Okay.
So sorry for the interruption, guys. Please proceed.
So I would look at prior art, understand what's happened with the deployment, and like basically enumerate what already exists and what's a precedent in Kubernetes today, and then decide, does any of this make sense for us? If not, let's come up with our own. And the precedent that we have today within KubeVirt is this idea of like batch operations, like a batch count, for example. We have that for how many migrations and VM starts will allow during workload updates and things like that. That was something I added recently. So to be consistent, I would probably call it like a batch size or batch count or something like that, because threads might be confusing in the context of like actual CPU threads or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, that because yeah, one of the pieces here, part of the motivation is being able to control like how many API requests we do, because it can affect throughput. So it's something that I think makes sense to be configurable and something that people may want to use. Okay. So maybe then, let's just say it's 1. Like what's our behavior then? So non-blocking, do you think? Like we just kind of like what's 1 and what's the difference between 1 and 2 if it's non-blocking?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to wait for the virtual machine to hit a running state. So you'd be only having, this would represent the number of parallel virtual machines you can have that are between like a stop and start state. And so somewhere in that pending state, like how many you allow to be pending, hitting running at a time. So it's in flight, ones that aren't running.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I worded that correctly.
So let me try to read it back. Like, so this would be like, we have created, we made the API requests. So like we have 2, we make the API requests, and this would be, so it'd be based on phase. So which phase is it that you considered like when we start the next one, when we've reached?
running. So it's
Running, okay.
specifically when the VMI, so the VMI instance hits a running phase, then I would deprecate how many are in flight.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
going to
Yeah.
be a
So
little
then,
tricky to implement.
okay. So then that would make sense for one. So then we just like have that. That would get us this kind of. We'd follow this ordering with one, and then anything above one, it's now we're doing batching. So it's kind of like a bool, I guess. No, it's actually more than that because we need to control how much we want to batch.
And Brian, you're at a 2-minute warning.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's mainly all I wanted to kind of bring up. I think we can talk about the rest on the mailing list, but that was mainly the changes and how in pets. Now the idea of pets kind of changes the dynamic. I mean, I think like the other one was we delete a virtual machine, like say this one. Should it be replaced with the same name or not?
Yeah, I think so.
You think it should be?
Well, I don't know what else to do if we're having consistent naming prefixes, and that means something that, like, for example, somebody can pre-populate secrets or something.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know.
So we use the same one. We delete it and we replace it and use the same objects.
So you could have some sort of policy about if the persistent storage or secret isn't owned by that virtual machine, it would stick around. It was owned, maybe it's cleaned up if you delete it and then recreated. I don't know. That would be some details to work through. But if we're going to use prefixes and we're going to allow that to involve some sort of matching for pre-population of secrets to match something that's going to be created by this this controller, then I mean, I don't know what else we would do.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I think is I think of is you just increment on top, but yeah, it doesn't quite get us the matching. Doesn't allow us to match the PVCs and the secrets. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do a little bit more another look at this and kind of incorporate some of the idea of pets all the way through again, because it also affects detach. That was the other thing that was mentioned. It definitely does, and what we can do with the pool. So. Yeah, then I'm probably gonna change this name. Yeah, threads doesn't make sense. Okay, we can follow up the rest on the mailing list then.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Sounds good, Ryan. That feature looks so awesome. Like I said last meeting, my NASA colleague is definitely interested in that feature. Okay.
Just send it to him, and we can. I'm curious. I want to hear as much feedback as possible on the doc. So I'm trying to hear lots of different opinions, and if they've got a use case, I definitely want to hear it.
Yeah, he actually wants us to come and present to him, and all of a sudden we have 4 different cons that we have to present to. So my next 3 months worth of work is gone ballistic. So speaking of cons, we have KubeCon and Red Hat Summit coming up, and we need videos. So if anybody has a great video that they want the community to present at these cons, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go through our catalog and see what we have. And of course, I need to send out an email to the list on that topic. Because we also need volunteers to tend the booth and answer questions. So there's that. Lots to talk about. So our team went through a transition in the last 2 weeks, and I've been very busy trying to move our work blocks around and get organized. So that email should be coming within the next day or 2.
Hey, Chris, out of curiosity, see, I guess I know KubeCon's virtual, and you're saying attend the booth or tend the booth. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, it's there's going to be a conference platform, and if you've been to a Red Hat Summit before, it's basically a dashboard, a virtual summit. I mean, it's a dashboard where you can wander around and enter various video conferences and participate in chat. And the new platform is going to have one-on-one chat, so a group of people can have like a Zoom meeting that's built into the platform. Should be pretty cool. Tending the booth means we need people at certain time frames to sit there and handle questions as they come in on chat and video conferences if need be. We really have no idea what the customer response is going to be. Last virtual summit, we had maybe 3 questions in chat, but we're now a year into a pandemic and just a massive work from home change in mentality. We could be looking at a lot more interaction this time around. Stu, does that sound about right?
Sorry, I was distracted. What's the question?
Ryan asked what the details of the virtual booth would be, and I mentioned that there's a chat feature in the platform, and volunteers just have to be available at blocks of time to handle those incoming questions.
Yes, exactly.
And then this year, the platform's changed, and now there's a video conferencing breakout session. So if a customer really wants to hear information from the horse's mouth, they can request a video conference similar to what we're doing here in Zoom. And that goes for KubeCon as well. And then Linux Foundation has got a KubeCon as well. And for that con, we're just going to do an office hours, a virtual office hours. So we'll have to be available for handling customers that are interested in the project and handling their questions. We're not going to do any kind of detailed presentation or keynote. It's just too much work. It's March 10th, and that is May 5th. So we got 45 days to get our material together. It's just not enough time. Okay, any more agenda items or open floor items? We are at the end of the list here. Anybody want to talk about anything at all? Any pull requests that are worthy of discussion?
I want to ask something about this area. Is this the right place?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Your voice was garbled.
So, can you hear me now?
You sound really hollow to me. Can anybody else hear him clearer?
Is it better?
Much
Yes.
better, yes.
Cool. I wanted to ask if this is the right place to bring something about CI health.
Absolutely.
I want to ask something. I looked in the Grafana, on the Grafana dashboard, and I looked at the RAM graph for each node. And I noticed that in the past 90 days, there is relative higher consumption of RAM memory. And I also saw that the RAM peaks to almost 140 gigs, which I guess is the RAM capacity of each node. So maybe we should reduce the load on the nodes, and we could reduce the flex that we see in the tests. And because I saw this behavior when I was working on the SRV lane stabilization, and when the node was loaded and the RAM memory peaked to the top, and there was a huge load on the CPU, everything slowed down. I had disconnections. The cluster health was bad, and the tests timed out, and everything hanged. Maybe this is the case. What you guys think?
I think Roman introduced something like that fairly recently, where there was a request to request more memory for each test lane or something like that, which would in turn reduce the number of parallel test lanes that could execute. So by requesting more memory, it would reduce kind of some of our pressure there. I don't know, maybe Federico has some better comments here. I was under the impression that our disk IO was some of the primary pressure that we were receiving. So I'm uncertain if memory is responsible for the flakes or if there's something else at play here.
As you said, this increased memory would make things better. I think it landed at the end of last week, so we should start seeing this improvement now even, and also now that we don't have the 1.17 lanes running, now the pressure is much lower. So yeah, hopefully during all this week we haven't seen this test failing, and yeah, hopefully let's keep it for a while more to try to establish some kind of procedure or policy to take tests out of quarantine. That it is not established, but yeah, we should see the test passing consistently for a while. But yeah, this sounds good to me. But the explanation from Or about what happened with this test. So yeah, let's keep it there for a while and then bring it back to the stable suite.
No, I'm talking about the RAM consumption on the CI nodes. From what I see, we getting to almost 140 gigs. So I want to ask, how many RAM do we have on the CI nodes?
I think that there's a PR also for increasing it. I'm not sure if it is what is the current amount, but I think we have a KubeVirt in the repo a PR for increasing it to I don't remember exactly how much is it in the jobs. We are now requesting, if I recall correctly, 34 gigs. In each job for all the CI cluster.
This is what we use for each job that to
Yeah,
run.
exactly. Yeah, this is after the increase from Roman last week.
I understand. I'll try to rephrase what I'm trying to say. I think that we use too much RAM on each CI node. Maybe we should reduce the RAM that we use, run less jobs in parallel. I don't know, to see if it affects if the test flakiness and the jobs failing or hanging. That's it. That's what I think. I wanted to ask what you guys think about it.
I don't have any idea. Currently, yeah, this is the nodes have. We are running now in parallel, kind of at the peak, like 10 jobs per node. And yeah, the nodes have more than 300 gigs. And yeah, previously before this increase, it was more than 12 jobs or something like that. Yeah, now the concurrency in each of the nodes is about 10 jobs. So
Okay, so so each node on the CI have 300 gigs.
a bit more.
I don't know. Hello?
Yeah.
We hear you.
Does anybody know how much RAM we have on the nodes? Is it 300?
Yes, it is. It is about a bit more. It is
Okay.
a bit more than 300.
Okay. So it's not that, if this is the case. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Let me check quickly, and I'll put in the chat exactly how.
Okay. Thank you.
And we can also create an issue in the KubeVirt repo and really get into the details of the problem. Probably a lot more so than the weekly meeting.
Yeah, we need to figure out if it's resource consumption or something that merged that caused the flakiness.
Mm-hmm. So could I ask you to create an issue and then post that issue in the meeting notes?
I want to make sure that it's not. It's actually what I think it is. Once I know how much RAM capacity we have on each node, I can compare it with the Grafana dashboard, the consumption. So we can check that it's actually resource consumption problem.
Yeah, okay. I just don't want us to hold up the meeting for too long.
Oh, please continue. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, a quick note. I put in the chat the exact amount of that have the bare metals.
Thank you for that bit of information, Federico. I copied it into the meeting notes. But please do create an issue, and then we can come back. We can come back and talk about it in greater detail next week. And in between now and then, you guys can work out if there is a problem and find a good solution. Does that sound like a good deal?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for that topic as well. Okay, moving on. Any more items? Going once, going twice. Okay. as I said last week, there's a pull request for establishing our membership policy and how to become a member and how to get upgraded to a repo maintainer and owner. Please take a look at that community issues number 75 and look at the pull request associated with it. I greatly appreciate community comments. So far, the majority of comments have come from the Red Hat Office of Open Source, and I'd really like to hear from what the community says. This is how we run the community, so it affects every one of us. And if there's no more topics of interest, we can move on to bug scrub. And Peter says he cannot attend. So who would like to volunteer to run the bug scrub?
I don't mind talking if somebody else can share their screen. Stu, would you, like, are you set up where you can share the screen? Or are you like me with Wayland?
Yeah, not able to.
Okay.
I can share, but I don't know how you guys do the filtering.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared.
We did a lot last week. Do you want to just skip it this time?
Yeah, so does anyone have any bugs they'd like to bring up for discussion? If so, we can have that sort of thing now. I think for the bug scrub, we might want to skip or at least be a little bit more proactive next time with assigning somebody before the meeting starts to do it. Otherwise, we kind of fumble around.
Mm-hmm. Usually it's Peter, and he says that he can't attend this time and requested somebody else drive that portion.
Yeah, so does anyone have anything they want to bring up? Nope. Okay, yeah, I'm in favor of skipping this time.
I second that.
And if this becomes a pattern, we'll figure out a way to get back up.
Yeah, sounds good. We definitely want to be doing that. Not sure about everybody else, but I find it very valuable to get the audio, video, like get everybody connected and talking about bugs, and rather than just have them linger in the background and not get addressed. All right, well, that said, I'll return 25 minutes to you guys. Have a nice rest of your day.
All right, catch y'all next week.
Yep,
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.